back to NDS. I am King Leo Picasso, and this is the first issue of Bloodline Business. Now, this is kind of a return to form for me for the content that I used to make when I first started my channel, but I reset my channel. Now, I'm coming back to it just in a different form. So, ride with me. I won't just be covering the Bloodline. I will be following different stories across the spectrum of wrestling so you guys can see what's going on in different companies and be able to pick up on what company is doing what. So right now, let's see where we at with it. So, to start issue 1, we've got Solo's Bloodline versus the original Bloodline at Crown Jewel. First to the ring was the current tribal chief, Solo Sikoa, followed by Tama Tonga, Reverend Jacob Fatu, and Tonga Loa on standby. Now, they already were up on the numbers game, which would cause a problem during the match. Solo Sikoa and his bloodline have been working together for the last few months as a complete unit and terrorizing the whole Smackdown brand, as Roman, Jay, and Jimmy have not been working together as a complete unit. Roman came back, he started to fight the bloodline by himself, then Jimmy eventually showed up and he joined him. Now, it took a little bit of convincing, but Jay ended up joining him for this match, but Jimmy and Roman showed up and came out together, and Jay made his own entrance from the stands. So already off top, that was an issue. It may not have seemed like much of a thing, but already off top, you could tell that they weren't in sync at all just off of the entrance if they can't even enter together. Eventually, all men got in the ring, and then the match was getting ready to start. Roman and Jay discussed who was going to start the match, and Jay eventually was the man to start the match after Roman agreed, and so they were off to a start. His first opponent was Tama Tonga. When the match started, Tama Tonga started in very quickly with the overhand axe handles and started beating Jay down with the same viciousness that we have become accustomed to seeing him do, and the new bloodline took advantage real quick. Eventually, Jay was able to turn it around and deliver some offense of his own, and then tagged in his brother Jimmy, which then they gave us and delivered some Usos tag team action, which we haven't seen in about a year and some change now since they broke up. The match went on. Jimmy was able to get in just a little bit of offense before Tama Tonga took back over and got him over to the corner to tag in none other than Samoan Werewolf, who started delivering more punishment onto Jimmy. Jimmy was able to get close to Jay, who made the tag, and they both started delivering double team moves again to clear out the whole ring. Roman himself was standing and pacing the apron as Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga were on the outside, and he was watching them very closely, and they were watching him too, almost planning an attack, but they thought twice. Solo talked to all of his guys, and they regrouped in the corner, Solo commanding orders and telling Tama Tonga to jump in the ring. The crowd started to chant that they wanted Roman, and Roman stretched his arm out to be tagged in by Jay Uso. Jay Uso in the corner trying to make a decision on who to tag, ends up tagging Jimmy, and that's where the match started to break down for the Bloodline again. Even at that moment when the Bloodline took over, Solo was able to show that he did have control as the tribal chief of his tribe by being able to be tagged in when he stretched his arm out, unlike Roman Reigns, who wasn't able to get a tag. And he had to just watch on as they tortured Jimmy, taking turns throughout the match until Jay Uso was able to tag in. Eventually, Jimmy was able to make it to the corner, but he was only able to make the tag to Jay, who then took over, delivered a little bit of offense, but he was easily overpowered after being weakened already by Solo's bloodline. Once Jacob Fatu got back in the ring, you already know that he already was ready to put the pain on him again, and he bellowed out like he usually does, "I love you, Solo," throughout that match, letting his tribal chief know who his allegiance was to. Eventually, it was Tama Tonga and Jay Uso in the ring. They both end up beating each other until they knocked each other down. Now, at this point, the crowd was getting hype, and you could feel the electricity in the arena, and the crowd started chanting for the OTC. Once they did that, Roman finally got the hot tag from Jay, and so did Solo Sikoa from Tama Tonga, and they both met in the ring. Roman stepped in the ring and delivered a lot of offense, fired up, and knocked out Solo Sikoa. They went back and forth with their offense until Roman got him off his feet and showed why he was the OTC. After Roman delivering enough offense to get Solo off his feet, he then went to the corner to deliver the spear to Solo Sikoa, who then countered Roman Reigns from the spear with a Samoan spike to knock Roman off his feet and off of his game. Solo went for the pin, but Roman was only saved by Jimmy Uso, who entered the ring and was able to break up the pin. From then, when Roman and Solo were down after that, The Samoan werewolf took that chance to jump back into the ring, and Jimmy Uso got up. They went back and forth and started delivering attacks on each other. Eventually, Jimmy went for the super kick, which Jacob ate like it was food, and then ended up knocking Jimmy out of the ring. Afterwards, Jay was able to get Solo Sikoa out of the ring with a series of super kicks himself, only to do a tope, only for Jacob to catch Jay during the tope and deliver a headbutt. After that, Roman walked over to the ropes to look outside and see the carnage. Roman getting distracted in that moment caused another distraction as Tama Tonga started to get back into the ring, but Roman was able to catch him and toss him into the ring, which then he ended up tossing him into the referee. After tossing Tonga Loa into the referee, Roman then was ready to deliver a spear to Solo Sikoa, only to see Tonga Loa jump up on the ring apron. He delivered a Superman punch to Tonga Loa. Then he saw Jacob Fatu climbing on the ropes and tried to deliver a Superman punch to Jacob, but Jacob grabbed Roman and delivered a headbutt. Then afterwards delivered a spinning back elbow into a BME, into a suicide dive to take out the Usos, who are on the outside looking to get back in and come in and help Roman. With everyone else out of the equation, Solo was the first to his feet as Roman also tried to get up, but it was too much. Solo grabbed Roman and delivered another Samoan spike into a second Samoan spike and went down for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Winner, your undisputed tribal chief, Solo Sikoa. Solo and the new Bloodline stood over Roman Reigns after they showed their dominance during the match and got the win. Clearly not satisfied with just the victory, they immediately went on to attack the OG Bloodline once again, and then familiar music hit. Out comes Sami Zayn. Solo pointed towards Sami as Sami entered the ring and told him to attack. Now, nobody knew who he was going to attack because the last time he was seen, again, he was seen talking to Solo Sikoa while he was in his truck. Sami looked around the ring and saw each of the members of the Bloodline on the ground, especially with Jay with the chair over his head, and chose who he would attack. Solo, with his arms open to give Sami a hug. Sami went in for the hug, but ended up giving Solo an exploder suplex, and then after that, mayhem ensued again, and all of the members of the Bloodline started fighting again on each side, the new Bloodline and the old. The OG Bloodline was able to get everyone outside of the ring, which would leave each member of the OG Bloodline in all four corners, and Sami Zayn looking down at Solo Sikoa. Solo, centered in the middle of the ring, was looking around trying to see how he could escape, but there was no escape as he was surrounded by everyone. At that moment, everybody was ready to attack. Sami went in for a haluva kick, and Roman Reigns at the same time went for a Superman punch, only for the two to collide and Sami to hit Roman with the haluva kick, leaving the other members of the Bloodline asking a question on was that intentional or not. Jimmy, seemingly upset, showed his frustrations yelling at Sami, while Jey Uso on the other hand was trying to get the tensions calmed down in the ring. Sami left the ring as he was instructed to by Jey, only for Jey to continue to talk to Jimmy, try to calm him down. The following night on Raw after Crown Jewel saw Sami Zayn in the center of the ring. After addressing the people of Saudi Arabia, he started to address what happened the night before with the Bloodline. Before he could do so, Jey Uso walked to the center of the ring. The first thing Jey did was tell Sami, "Hey, thank you for saving me during Crown Jewel. I appreciate you." Afterwards, he proceeded to ask, did he attack Roman Reigns intentionally, or was it an accident? He wanted him to be very clear with him so that there was no miscommunication. Before Sami can get a word out, Jimmy Uso's music hit and he came down to the ring with a not so happy look on his face. Jimmy, not even addressing Sami in the beginning, addressed Jey and told him, "You saw exactly what I saw. You saw him kick Roman dead in the face." Right after listening to what Jimmy had to say, Sami intervened and said, "Hey, you're the one that brought me into this Bloodline." He started going down the history of everyone that Jimmy has attacked, even him being the one that he attacked first to kick him out of the Bloodline, down to kicking Jey in the face, down to kicking Roman in the face, and costing people championships. Sami then went on to tell him that he was not upset with him and he doesn't hate him, but he wanted to remind him of his track record. Sami then turned to Jey and told him he's already been put on trial by his family and he couldn't do it again, and he was out, and he started to leave the ring. But Jey stopped him in his tracks and told him that, "Look, you are family." To which Jimmy said he ain't family, and then Jey promptly told Jimmy, "Hey, it takes more than blood to be family. Right now, I see Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, and Sami Uso." To which Sami smiled and then walked away with a confused look on his face. Would he show up on Friday or not? That remains to be seen. It's Friday and Smackdown is here, and Roman and Jimmy make their way to the ring in solidarity, ready to address Solo Sikoa. But before they could do that, Jey Uso's theme hits, and he makes his way to the ring, dressed in Bloodline colors to show solidarity with the rest of the team. As he enters the ring and starts to conversate, he asks Roman to do him one favor and asks to hear Sami Zayn out. So, next thing you know, Sami Zayn music hits, and he makes his way down to the ring. Sami first explains how the haluva kick that he delivered to Roman was very unintentional and it wasn't meant for him. It was meant for Solo Sikoa. He also said he saw the look in Roman's face and that he knew deep down inside, Roman wanted his whole bloodline back together once again. He told Roman that them being together again felt like old times, and he's sure that Roman can feel the same thing too. And Roman can have it all back under one condition. All he had to do was apologize to Jey Uso due to everything that he had went through once he had left the bloodline. Roman snapped back to that moment where he reminded everyone since he first got back that he hadn't changed and he was still the same person. He would not be apologizing because this was family business and Sami was not family, and he wasn't even honorary, and this was family business. Sami grew tired of having this second round of a trial that he had already been through previously before a while back, and he ended up just leaving and walking away. As Sami was leaving the ring, Roman immediately called out Solo Sikoa. To his surprise, he was greeted by none other than Jacob Fatu on the Titantron. Reverend Fatu immediately opened the brains, Bloodline backstage area looking for Solo and let Roman know he hadn't been tribal chief in so long. He didn't run into him, but he ran into his cousin Jimmy, who he was about to have a conversation with, just like everybody grabbed by his cousin Jey. And that Solo, surprised by the way Jey grabbed him, still had no choice but to hear him out. Jey reminded Roman that he asked one thing, and that was to hear Sami of the ring. Roman, blinded by his rage, told Jey, "Hey, look, if you care about Sami so much, then go find him yourself." Which Jey replied and reminded him that was his one pass, as they were all to be treated like equals if this was gonna work. As Jey left, Jimmy questioned Roman what was he doing. After that, Roman told Jimmy, "Go find your brother," referring to if that's the way he's gonna act, he might as well go along with his brother anyway. In the final segment, Solo walked out with his whole bloodline with him. The first thing Solo did as soon as he stepped in the ring was ask the crowd to acknowledge him. To then, to his surprise, Roman Reigns' music hit and he came out to the ring. Roman stepped through the ropes with all 4 of Solo's bloodline members in the ring, showing no fear as the OTC would. Solo was like, "Before I get to the crowd, Roman, before they do, I want you to acknowledge me." Roman asked the crowd, "Do y'all acknowledge Solo as the tribal chief?" They said no, and Roman said he never will. Roman then gave Solo a challenge, one-on-one, and the winner becomes the one and only tribal chief. Solo laughed and was like, he's already the undisputed tribal chief, but he did counter the offer. He told Roman to go find 4 people that would fight with him, which was easily a challenge for War Games. Solo said he had his 5. He counted everybody in the ring with him and added Sami Zayn to that equation. Roman, with a shocked look on his face, looked around, and a slow-walking Sami Zayn came walking from the backstage area. As Roman watched Sami Zayn with a shocked look on his face, Solo's bloodline started in on the attack. They started attacking Roman Reigns with no mercy, which led Jey and Jimmy to come running from the back to help, while Sami Zayn stood there looking puzzled, asking himself, should he help or not? Roman, Jimmy, and Jey were outnumbered in the ring, and they were easily taken down and brutalized by the bloodline. Solo, with Roman in his arms about to deliver a Samoan spike, asked for Sami to come to the ring because he wanted him to be the one to kick Roman in the face. This time, as Sami got in the ring, he delivered the haluva kick to Solo Sikoa. Roman then got to his feet and gave Jacob Fatu a Superman punch before Sami Zayn delivered a haluva kick to Jacob Fatu as well. Roman then delivered a spear to Solo Sikoa, which then took out all members of Solo's bloodline, and they all retreated from the ring. One by one, each member of the bloodline, from Jey, Jimmy, to Sami, and then Roman, lifted their finger in solidarity for the crowd to acknowledge them. Now begins a new road for the OG bloodline. How long will it last? We'll find out.